So the next code on our list that we're dealing with sounds like it's going to be a little bit more interesting, but we got this P0017. Does it give us a description? Okay, so the powertrain control module uses the crankshaft position sensor and the exhaust cam position sensor in order to monitor the correlation between the crank and the cam sensor. PCM detects that the cam sensor pulses occur during the incorrect crankshaft position the P0017 will set. So I guess we can kind of end it all right there. We have to take a cam crank correlate. We have to look at this on a scope, see what it looks like. But the problem is I don't have a known good cam crank correlation to look at, and that is the pisser. Because without a known good, I think we have nothing. It looks like somebody's probably already played Swaptronics. These have a variable exhaust camshaft, and it looks like somebody's already changed the solenoid, so we doubt that's it. There are some service bolt-ins on this. I mean, there are service bolt-ins from everything from the thrust bearings being burned out of the engine, filling the solenoid full of debris. There are service bolt-ins, excessive crankshaft end play. There's bolt-ins for the crank magnetic pickup wheel on the crank sensor rotating on the crankshaft, giving incorrect, timing references. But without a known good waveform. Need a known good waveform. This is why I always try to collect these when they come in, but I don't have any for a 2.8. So what it takes to set the code. PCM detects 25 out of the last 35 cam revolutions occur 2 cam sensor pulses outside the crankshaft window. Well, this really is no help. Other than, it tells us, our circuit description, this is what the PCM's looking for. Well, maybe we can see if this cam solenoid works. I think we got some data PIDs on that. I'll do a little more poking here, see if I can find some kind of definitive test for us to run, and we'll take it from there. So real quick, we've got our cam, exhaust cam solenoid right here. So this is going to be an oil pressure controlled solenoid. It's going to control the the phaser on the end of the exhaust camshaft here. We've got our exhaust camshaft sensor, and then underneath the vehicle we have a crank sensor, and that's kind of where we're at. One thing on these engines though I've seen is come in like out of oil setting these codes. We'll have to wipe that off and see if we can get it back here. See if it's something as simple as that. That would be handy. I doubt it, but I've seen these things come in where they're not on the 2.8s, but what is it, the 3.5, that 5-banger they put in these. Some come in out of oil, or damn near out of oil. Set these codes. Yeah, it's only about a half quart low. Plus the engine's cold, so leave it at that. You see if the if the Varus offers us any insight in the troubleshooter. Sometimes they'll have a few little tech tips in there or something. Go back under our code. Okay, so this conditions for running the code. This tells us we'll do it with cranking or running less than 1200 RPM, so that's something new I don't think we read there. And it measures it with the cam actuator is commanded to the home or the park position. Okay, so it's going to be measuring it at a 0 degrees of change. PCM detects that the cam sensor pulses occur less than 9 or more than 12 crankshaft degrees outside of the normal position. It'd be really, really handy if they showed us what the normal position was. Spec for mechanical repairs, cam actuator, cam sensor. Here's all your loose, all your possibilities there. Geez, yeah, quite a list. Let's see, you may also operate the vehicle with the conditions and observe the freeze frame data. You know, we can always go look at freeze frame data, that's good. So we got our camshaft phase actual degrees, our desired duty cycle, and variation. Take and fire this thing up real quick. Well, sitting here at an idle, I don't know if it's gonna, I wouldn't expect any kind of change. Maybe with a code in it, maybe it's not even gonna try to actuate. Camshaft, I don't know, when we first fired it up there, I seen it jump right up to 100% though. I would think that would have made a brief change. Maybe that's how it checks it each time it starts. I don't know. We have any bi-directional controls for that. Crank relearn, output controls. No, we don't have anything there. So that's not helpful. On there. Let's go get their sensor data maybe. There we go, there's our cam phaser stuff. Got our actual or desired. We'll give her a little bit of a rev up tune up here, see if it changes at all. I don't know if it's got to be a certain temperature or not. No, nothing happened there. Okay, well. Did it command it at all? No, there's not. I just want to make sure I didn't miss something here. Now let me do a little more poking. I guess before I do any poking, we can do what we should have done. Pop back into some freeze frame data here, see if we get anything useful. We can always take and plug in the Altel too, see if it gives us any different bi-directional controls. Might be helpful. Okay, so, well, all right, so let's set this code 35 degrees, open loop. This is not going to give us any useful information. Other than the fact it did generate the code when it was cold. And maybe when it first started up. Yeah, 12 degrees outside, so let's see this morning. Yeah, so this could have been yesterday or any time really. It's been down that temperature for a couple days now. And mileage, yeah, it's only 62 miles. Alright, well that's a couple clues I guess. Taking switch tools on you guys here. Disconnected the Veris. We'll see if this offers us any other options. As far as bi-directional controls, Snap-on's usually pretty good on GM, so I'm doubting we're going to see. Okay, I don't know what radio's in it. I'm doubting we're going to see anything any different here, but you never know. It'd be nice to have some bi-directional control of this. At least we can see a change in cam crank correlation, assuming the actuator's working. see, that cam phaser solenoid, look at that. What's this allow us to do? Oh, uh-oh, they're not gonna like this video. Okay, so it appears that we can do cam phaser solenoid, see if there's anything else here. I don't see anything there. Service bay, that's just gonna be our evap, yep. Okay. Go to service, I don't think. Okay, oil life reset, okay. Not 100% familiar with this, so oops. Ah, shoot. This went back too far. Well, this is great. Good, I'm glad we got, it's always good to have two tools. I clicked back too many times. All right, let me go start this back up. Alright, what PIDs do we have here? I got all the important ones. So we have our duty cycle, our desired or actual, and the variance. So this must be, I assume the variance is the difference between the actual and desired. So let's see. Control disabled due to trouble code. Well, we can fix that. Make sure the code's gone. That's one thing we don't know. We don't know if this code just sets immediately, you know, if the problem is present. No fault code, so that's good. Really wish I had a known good waveform. Let's try this now. Commanding at 42%, 2 degree desired, 2 degree actual. Oh, okay, the command state is 20%. Okay, that's just the duty cycle. So 5 and 5. 7 and 7. Oh, she's running a little crappy back here. I have to go prop the throttle a little bit. Well, I guess the phaser seems to be working. Let me do this back to 0 here so we don't stall on. So let me go prop the throttle on this thing. We'll make sure that phaser's not sticking throughout some point of its travel here. I got her propped about 2,000 RPMs. We're getting 25 degrees cam angle. I assume it's measuring this variation from the camshaft sensor. Staying at 2, I don't know why that is. Says we set a trouble code. Oh yeah, the evap, obviously. I don't know if this trouble code sets because we were messing with it. You know what I'm saying? That I don't know. I guess we have to test this, being that it came back that fast. Let's clear the codes out of it. I'll go rev it up a couple times here. See if we generated that code by fiddling with it. Okay, no codes. Go rev her up. Well, it said this code would set under 1200 RPMs, right? So that's kind of odd. Oh, these are stuff that hasn't run yet. Let's see if that test has even run. Oops. Be the best thing to do. So I can't see go, and phaser seems to work. P0017 not run, and coolant temperature. Oh, that's a P0017. Yeah, so our P0017 has ran, but it's not in the not run list yet. So our diagnostic trouble code status, I guess, I think that's how Snap-on does it. But so the code has ran and passed evidently. Nope, it hasn't. Right there. Bam, look at that. Okay, so we're getting this code without even fiddling with it. So we have some kind of correlation problem here, but it appears that solenoid works. So I wonder if this is one of those really bizarre things where it is, you know, it has slipped on the crankshaft or something stupid. Man, that'd be wild, wouldn't it? Let's go. This thing doesn't like the stylus very much. Oh, I don't know what's going to be here, maybe engine data 2. Well, I tell you what. Yeah, okay, yes, we got cam. That's crank counter. Yep, there's our cam shaft variance and all that business. Now it appears to be, you know, seeing the crank in the cam. Now, I suppose we ought to hook the scope to this thing, see what stuff looks like. I'm gonna have to do some programming and see if I can find a known good. So we're gonna hook the scope to underneath the vehicle. I got a ground hooked up there. That is our crank sensor right there. The light's kind of bright. I just back probed that. It's a permanent magnet AC pulse generator. So I just probed one of those wires, and we'll come up and we'll see if we can grab the cam signal. Like I said, I don't know what we're gonna see. It's not gonna be this, you know, beautiful square wave coming out of this sensor, obviously. Problem is, I don't know what to compare it to. Taking the cable's probably so short on these. Let's see, we'll make sure we've got good crank signal here first. And we'll hook up the cam signal. We'll get our scope set up. 4-channel lav scope. We're going to be doing cam crank here. Nice to do a ignition trigger or something too. So we're probe 1. We're going to do 20 volts. Turn that off. We don't need it inverted. Let's fire it up here. See if we got a good connection there. See, change the scale here. We can look and see what, how many teeth we're supposed to have on this crank. I think I seen it at one point. It was like a 54, and then -2 or whatever they consider it. We can count it and make sure, but looks pretty normal to me as far as an AC sine wave. We can see 360 degrees of rotation here, I imagine. Look at the scale. So from opening to opening, we're going to have 360 degrees of rotation. We're going to have a certain number of teeth across there. Just at a glance, this looks pretty normal to me. Get our cam signal and have a look at that. We'll go for our cam sensor now, which I assume works because the PCM sees the degrees of change on it. It's got this, I assume that's what it looks at when it has a comparison. Okay, so this is a 3-wire sensor. It runs on 5 volts. Have to figure out what our signal wire is here. Looks like we got a red, a black, something else with a black trace. I don't know. So we'll just go component test. Chevy 05, Colorado 28, fuel injection. Oops, that's cam phaser. What? Cam sensor, component info. Cam signal is the middle wire, which typically it is. Okay. 3-wire Hall effect, mounted on cylinder head. The electric wheel has 4 notches of different sizes for individual cylinder ID. PCM uses this signal to ID compression stroke of each cylinder and cam position. I wish we had a known good cam crank correlation, because that's what we need more than anything here, I believe. Let me grab my second lead. We'll get this hooked up to the cam sensor and see how these correspond, even though we have nothing to go by. This is channel 2. We're going. I think when I was in that component meter, I think it said this was a 12 volt. Let me turn the key on. Oh, key is on. We can probably tell real quick. Let's see here. Up here, we turn on channel 2. It's on a 20 volt scale. Alright. Let's turn our trigger off. Okay, keys on. Let's see. One of these wires. That's nothing. Maybe it's this one. What did I go up to? Nope, that's 5 volts. So the, I thought it said it was 12 volts, but yeah, no, 4.64 volts. Minus 1.24. Let me plug this sucker in. Okay, cam sensor's plugged in, keys on. That's 1.24. 4.6. I wonder, I would think that would be closer to 5. That's interesting. And that's our cam signal. So let's do something here. So I'm plugged into the cam signal. Where did our number 1 trace go? What happened here? We got a bad ground on our connection underneath. I bet we do. So where's number 1? Yeah, we do. We got a bad ground on our scope. We'll go underneath and wiggle that ground wire. That's where we're getting some funky readings. Okay, I went down there. All filthy now. Wiggled our ground. And now, there we go. Now our 0.0. Let me see what our feed is here. Must be the ground wire. There we go. 11.83 volts. Okay, I thought it said it was a 12 volt sensor. Yeah, our battery voltage is 12.31. Okay, we're back in business. So now we should see our cam signal, which it must be on the low side right now because it's 0.04 volts. So at least we know the sensor's pulling all the way to 0. We're not going to get slid on that. Okay, here we go. We're going to change our scales now that we got a good ground. Put that back where I had it. Okay. Get a trigger again. Doesn't matter. See what it looks like here in the big picture. Take a little snapshot of this. That. Record. There we go. Shut it off. Let's see what we have. Okay, here we go. So it told us, what did it tell us? It said there's four IDs to show compression of each cylinder. So in 720 degrees here, so there's 360. Oh, this is those coming out to bug us. Can't see we're doing, this is very high-tech, technical, in-depth, super engine diagnosis analysis.
Well, if you don't want me to do any work, I'll just go home.
You'll just go home?
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's see what she has here. I better turn this off. This could be very important information that we can't really. What? Turn this off. Basically. So now that we're done talking, shh, don't say that. Oh, let me see. Yes, but that needs brake lines. It's got some blown brake lines. What else? The People are waiting.
There wasn't anything else.
Okay. Oh,
There was something
hey. Mrs. O brought us out a sweet present. Look at this docking station. The new Bears Pro docking station. Totally awesome. A little spendy, but totally awesome. So it's just the charging port in the new Veris. It's kind of a pain. It's got this little rubber. Not griping about it. Yeah, I am. It's got this little rubber thing here. You got to unhook every time you want to charge. And you know darn well at some point. Here, hold the camera with. Very steady. They like steady photography. So then turn my light back on. So that's always kind of a pain. Every time you want to charge it, you got to undo the little rubber thing here. And I'm just afraid at some point, just gonna end up ripping that off. So I bought a docking station. Oh, right here. It's got a little flip out donger. You hook your charger port to it. It's got 4 USBs on it.
4?
4. Count them. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Oh.
And then I don't know if that's a VGA output. Or is that what they call VGA? Is that an output for monitor? I don't know. Possibly. Which it may be. I don't know. Yes, it is. Because I did notice that's one thing the tool doesn't have is a monitor output. So maybe Mrs. O will buy us a big screen TV for out here for the YouTube videos. We'll be whiteboard, or maybe not.
It's your money. You want me to go buy it and spend it?
Oh man, look at that. I just turned the camera on. Probably like the most useless feature of any scan tool. Oh, I just took a picture.
Does it take great pictures?
No, it doesn't. It takes very low quality pictures. I don't know why we have a camera out there. You're out there doing mechanics, you're on Facebook, you want to send a selfie, you know? So yeah, that's the new docking station. Thought I'd throw that in there. We need to analyze this waveform. Code red. Okay. Okay. Come on, give me my camera. Alright. Jeez. Go back in the office.
Okay. So I can do this.
Okay, now, where were we? We were looking at what we had. And it said, what did this say? Let's go back to our component test. This is cam sensor, component information. Through-air Hall effect, right head. Has 4 notches, different sizes for individual cylinder ID. PCM uses the ID. The signal and ID compression stroke of each cylinder and cam position. Okay, so that would be, if it's 4 compression strokes, it's got to be in 720 degrees of crankshaft. So let's poke back to here and let's look at 720 degrees. Actually, so 720 degrees, we got 360, we got another 360, so that's 720. So between here and here, we should have, so let's say between this point and this point, we should have 4 unique IDs for each cylinder, and we can see we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 square waves that are pulled down, and that pattern should repeat itself all the way across and never vary unless we change the camshaft actuator. And that's probably one thing we should look at, is see the camshaft actuator has been at 0 degrees, so we have to kind of know that. We have to know what we're starting with, what we're looking at. And we also need to know, is this a pull up or a pull down style sensor? Because are we looking for 1, 2, 3, 4 marks down here? Or are we looking for them up here? Because if we're looking for it to be pulled up, obviously something's wonky right here. So let's figure that out. So we got the Veris over in the docking station. What we're going to do to determine if this is a pull up or pull down styles, we're just going to unplug it. Hopefully. Man, this thing unplugs so freaking hard. I'm going to have to get a pick, I guess. Grab our Veris. this thing back in. That stupid colt I can't kick. Alright, we're going to plug this back in. We're going to pop back out. Get our live data here. Let's turn that trigger back off. Get this unplugged. Okay, so it's unplugged. We can see that trace 2 drop to, let me get a live reading here, 0 volts. So this is going to be a pull-up style Hall effect sensor. So then we can go back in and look at our waveform, and I think that might give us some pretty good evidence here. Alright, well, running around this place like a fart in a whirlwind. Trying to remember where we left off. We determined it as a pull-up style, but I've lost my train of thought as to why. Why I even needed to know that, because I think we were looking at the way this cam sensor falls, emits these crank signals in a known 720 degrees, but I guess I speak before I think sometimes when I'm doing this stuff, because it's really redundant how that works. So there's 720 degrees between the cursors. You know, we've only got what, you know, these notches are all split up here, but if we simply go like this, if this makes sense, let's see, we'll look at this 720 degrees. I guess we need to know what the sync is. We need to know what this computer is looking for, because here we've got 720 degrees of crank rotation, and we've got, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4 marks. I don't know what the notches on the cam look like. I don't know where the sync notch is supposed to fall in relationship to the cam, and that's nothing, that there's no publicized information on this. So I guess what we can do next is, you know, this is our waveform we captured, but what we'll have to do, we'll have to capture this again. We'll have to look at the cam PID, make sure the cam is commanded at 0 degrees, make sure the actual representation is being represented at 0 degrees, save that data. We'll use our Altel, we'll command it to, you know, 10 degrees, whatever. And then we'll capture that again, and we should see this cam signal if that camshaft is moving, which, you know, we know it is because we can hear the engine stall and we see the feedback on the scan tool. We should be able to see this cam, you know, advance, you know, across the screen here, and we should be able to see that and measure that and learn from that. But I still don't think that's going to help us, because it's throwing the code because of the orientation of the cam, or the correlation of the cam to the crank signal. But we don't know what it's supposed to look like because we don't have a known good waveform. So yeah. Fire this beast back up. Okay. Okay, let's see here. Let's get our scan data. We're gonna make sure and see that the cam is, you know, at 0. Oops. So our cam phase angle actual is 0. You guys can see that. Yeah, cam phase actual is 0. So we're going to record this. We'll get a little better picture here. Go there, stop, and record it. That should be enough. We're going to save this waveform as our 0 degree. Go file, save it all. Oops. We're going to 0. Cam at idle. So we'll save that. Now what we'll do, we're going to take our Altel here, function test. We're gonna go to cam phaser. We're gonna bump this up, you know, however many degrees. Doesn't matter, I guess we'll, oops, we're gonna have to clear the codes, I guess, that's right. Okay, we cleared the codes. 4 sets of code, we'll go back in here. We'll do something that we know we can see here. Okay, so this is a 10-degree difference. Okay, so we're gonna take and stop this. We're gonna record it. We're going to stop it, we're going to save it. While that's saving, we'll put this back to normal here. That's back to 0. I don't know why when we put it to 0, it goes to 2 degrees desired. That I don't know. At any rate, we've got this saved, so we'll save all frames. Let's see, this was what, 10 degrees? 10 degrees cam idle. So now we'll go look at this. Okay, let's back out of here. Let's look at, we're gonna go and see our first, so there's our 10 degree, or 0, it's gonna be down here. Okay, 0 degree cam idle. So this is the picture we just took at an idle. So let's see if we can see any relationship change. We should be able to. Let's pick an easy one. So we're gonna go peak to peak here. So there's crankshaft, there's 360, here's 720. For the sake of measuring here, we got 1, 2, 3. We got 4 humps. You know, 2 short ones, 2 long ones in that 720 degree window. Okay, and to make Ivan proud, we're gonna do some geek out math. he likes doing math. So our time between here, cursor 1 and cursor 2, is 146 milliseconds. So that's 720 degrees. So we're going to take 720 divided by 146, and that is 4.93 degrees per millisecond. So for every millisecond on here is 4.93 degrees. Okay, let's see if that's right. So let's see. So this between here and here should equate 360 degrees. So we've got a time of 70. So we gotta write down this number. Gotta write down numbers. He always tells me, write that down. 4.93 degrees per millisecond. So we've got this number here, 73.28. So 73.28 times 4.93 equals 361. So from here to here is 361 degrees, or 360 degrees. So that proves our math is right. And if you could see me, I'd be smiling because I suck at math. So I'm happy about that. So let's just take a measurement and see how far our cam moved. Okay, so let's measure right here on this rising edge. Okay, of the first, from the crank wave to the first edge of this cam is 9.42 milliseconds. So 9.42 milliseconds times 4.93, we're going to give that a number of 46.4 degrees. Let's go take the same measurement on the other waveform in which we moved it 10 degrees. So we can find out, are we looking at 10 degrees camshaft or 10 degrees crankshaft? Let's just see. We should see something different in either case. Okay. So first thing we have to do is same measurement. Let's get our, this should be about the same because it was still idling. So, but we gotta check because we could have different numbers here. Do the best we can. Kind of zoomed out kind of far here, but okay, that one's pretty close. So we got 152 milliseconds. So we're going to do 720 divided by 152 equals 4.73 milliseconds, degrees per millisecond. So let's come here. And we've got 14.31 times 4.73 is 67.6 degrees. And our first measurement on our last screen was 46. So if we take 67, let's see, 67.6 minus 46, that is 21.6 degrees. So what that tells us is, what's that tell us? Let's think about this. So when we think about that, or when we look at that, remember our initial measurement, our 720 degrees was 720 degrees of the crankshaft. Well, how many turns does the camshaft go in relationship to the camshaft? 1. So in the 720 degree window, the camshaft went 1 turn. So we take our, what was our measurement? It was like 21 degrees, whatever we just said it was, 21 point whatever. Divide that in half, we're back at 10. And that's exactly what we commanded it to do with our scan tool. We commanded our camshaft to move 10 degrees. We have the proof right here that it actually did in relationship to the crankshaft. However, this means squat because we still don't have a known good waveform, but we know this because, like I've said in other videos, sometimes we got to figure out what we know other than what we don't know. I just keep having these flashbacks of the last Scanner Danner Premium video with his, Jeep, where everybody got slid. What we need is a known good waveform because, to the best of my knowledge, from what I read on, on Mitchell here, what I understand on, these cam crank waveforms, and what we understand from what it takes to generate this code is the engine PCM is looking for the correlation, the relationship between these two sensors to be at a certain point. This sync notch has to line up with something, some kind of reference. I don't know what the algorithm in the computer is, but it has to see those two pieces within a certain time amount, and if it doesn't, then it gives us the light, which is the problem. This is why we're setting that code, I think, almost immediately, because the PCM's not seeing what it wants to see. But obviously everything is there for it to see, just not in the right sequence. That makes sense? We have a cam signal, we have a crank signal, we have the the 4 notches that the only information I could find on that was from Snap-on. So we'll pop back into here. So it was 06 Colorado 2.8 cam sensor. It tells us provides 4 signal pulses for every camshaft revolution. Well, we've got that. And it says each reluctor wheel is of a different size, which is used to identify compression stroke for each cylinder, which we haven't done. We haven't checked to see if they're all different size. But I'll be honest with you, eyeballing them, they don't look like they're different. I mean, it looks like we got two little ones, 2 big ones. Look here through my diagrams here. So I suppose we can do that, measure them, but I don't suspect, that's going to be our problem. I guess I can do that real quick. Measure our two big ones here. Just kind of see where they fall roughly. See if they are unique in nature. So that's 32.8 milliseconds on that one. 32.2, yeah, they're pretty close to the same. Of course, that's, well, yeah, that's running, so that should be pretty accurate. So, but again, I don't know how accurate the information is. I'm not going to get too hung up on that. If we go back and we look at our crank test, what's it tell us here? Component information. Same analog signal. Let's see, the reluctant wheel teeth are 6 degrees apart, having only 58 teeth. Leaves a 12-degree span that is uncut. So this creates a signature pattern that enables ECM to determine crankshaft. ECM can determine which pair of cylinders is approaching top and center based on crankshaft alone. Again, we can verify, yeah, they're 6 degrees apart. We can verify that we've got we're missing 2 of them, so it must be a 58 minus 2. Because the 12-degree span is uncut, so 12 degrees is 2 teeth. We can verify that, but where's that going to take us? I think the fact of the matter is we need to have a known good waveform to do anything with. It just makes me wonder, because there is that service bulletin out there that says that these can evidently rotate, the reluctor ring can shift on the crankshaft. And that just makes me wonder, how the heck does this thing start the firing sequence if that reluctor ring had shifted? How does this engine even start? Does that mean that this engine can run without a crank signal? I suppose we can do the unplug it test and see if that's even plausible. Does it just substitute cam only? Is the cam a bigger player in this game than a crank signal? I don't know. I'm just usually don't, I'm just thinking out loud here. Sometimes that helps us come up with ideas. So why don't we do that? Why don't we just unplug the crank sensor? If this thing will run without a crank sensor, that's a very plausible option, that this cam reluctor wheel could have rotated on a crank. And the good news is, I think I have a customer that has one of these that lives nearby, that I might be able to have him come down and capture a known good waveform, hopefully. So let's unplug the crank sensor just for the heck of it and see what happens. Coat's already filthy, I guess it doesn't matter. Got my sweet Jim the Car Guy shirt on today. Oh, let's see, where is this? I think it's right here. Wait to get to her. I gotta lock it. Oh man, this is like working in a parking lot. Of course, it's got a lock on it. Holy cow. Oh man, I should have picked her up in the air. Oh. Sorry, Tim, I got your shirt dirty, pal. Okay, well, our crank sensor is unplugged. So there's some proof. It didn't like it the first time. It probably set a code. This thing will run on the cam sensor alone. And I've got no check engine light. Cam sensor is unplugged. Truck is running with no check engine light. I wonder if it'll set on the second go round here. Look at that. Jeez. Unbelievable. Isn't that wild? I wonder on the scan tool. This thing's got to set a crank sensor code, for crying out loud. This thing just gets more bizarre by the minute here. Yeah, I got a crank code, got no stinking check engine light. Unbelievable. Okay, well, so if that crank signal is off in relationship to our cam signal, but it still receives it, does it just ignore it and throw this correlation code, which we seem to be getting quickly? It doesn't have one stored right now. I guess we ought to, I'll shimmy back under there, I'll plug it back in, we'll start it up, and we'll see if it generates that code again, because that's, I don't know, I'm kind of adding some pieces to the puzzle here. Just had to go press some control arm bushings in for Josh. Crank sensor is plugged back in. Obviously starts much better with it. Where's my stylus? I don't know. Alright. So our current codes are still just the crank sensor. I don't know if this screen updates live when it gets codes or not. I'll tell you what, let's, I don't think it can set a correlation code if that crank sensor code was stored. I think that was one of the stipulations. So I'm going through, we're going to erase the codes. We're going to go back in, read the codes. Hopefully. Okay. Current codes, no fault codes detected. Let's just see if the 0017 is not on our not ran list. Okay. We'll go back in the current codes. That's weird that it's not there. It passed, evidently, but it's a continuously monitored code. There, see if that, because last time it generated pretty quickly, remember? I think. Let's see if this pops back up. Current codes, there it is, P0017. So it comes up very quickly. And it comes up this ignition passed and failed. So evidently it passes at an idle when we first start it. Okay.
Papa, can I have a scooter out here?
Look here, quick. Oh man, you're getting heavy. What'd you say?
Can I ride every scooter out here?
The scooter?
Yeah.
No, we got too many cars up here. Okay? We're trying to learn something. Okay?
Yeah.
Alright, you go down. Alright. When we get these cars out, you ride your scooter. So yeah, so whatever this vehicle is seeing, whatever it's seeing it doesn't like. That's obvious. We've got a problem. We're at a point where we just gotta stop. Crank works, cam sensor works, actuator works. It goes the number of degrees that it commands. That's all good. We need a cam crank correlation waveform. And the only way to get one is to either have somebody send you one that you know that has one, or we have to call a customer or somebody I know that has one of these engines, because that's all we can do. I'm suspicious that the reluctor wheel on the crankshaft has rotated, which is wild, because then we would have to say, Miss Customer, you need a new crankshaft. Seriously? Seriously, but she just gave me a weird look because I said that.
Well, I just
Oh, this is intact. I'm doing math. Look at this.
math. Wow.
Look at this. Look at my math. Ivan's gonna be so proud of me. I got degrees per millisecond. We got things dividing, multiplying, calculators, bulky. I need a pocket protector.
Oh man. Not even.
Hey Jim, you know what I call a t-shirt without a pocket? A rag. Who buys a t-shirt without a pocket?
Who wears one without a pocket?
This guy. I'm trying to help Jim out. Jim the car guy. It's seen on YouTube. And it's pink, Jim.
Yeah, I was picking on you about that.
Yeah, I know.
So I just talked to the lady.
This lady?
Yeah, she said she had it to like 4 garages.
Is this something we should have on YouTube?
Sure.
Oh, okay, you're not gonna say anything.
She just said that basically
Hey,
like.
come over here, let's talk to the people. So tell us, this lady owns this thing.
Right.
Jane Doe, we'll call her Jane Doe for the sake of the video.
Said I just told her you had some time into it and you're gonna have some more time into it. And she said it's been like 4 garages. She needs to get it to pass inspection, so she's said go ahead and keep working on it. But if it's catastrophic,
It's up to us.
it's up to you.
It's up to me. This is
Yeah.
all on my shoulders.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
Holy crap.
And you can call her if it's real bad too.
Oh yeah, I love telling
If
people
it's good
that.
news, I'll call. But
Oh, I see.
yeah.
You get all the glory.
No, I don't like to give bad news.
Well, here's what we suspect. There's a service bulletin on this thing for the crankshaft reluctor wheel. You can envision this wheel with 58 notches in it. And one big gap, 6 degrees apart. Got that in your mind?
Yep.
It's pressed onto the crankshaft.
Okay.
Evidently it can slip and rotate, giving us a false cam crank correlation. We've taken measurements, we see it, we look at it, we're happy, we're like, oh, this is great, but we don't know what we're looking at because we don't have any known good waveforms. So, the only way to do that is to obtain one yourself, which that's what I do. You know, a lot of times when cars come in, I plug in, get cam crank correlations real quick, like sneaky, like a little rabbit, do an oil change, get waveforms. So me and Ivan, we share those, we save those for situations like this.
And do you have one?
I don't have one for this. But we have 2 customers that have these cars with these engines.
And you gonna call a customer?
I'm gonna call them and say, hey, can I pay for your gas to drive here so I can gather a waveform?
Well, couldn't you just go there?
Are you kidding me? I'd have to get in the car in the snow. Just brush my, just got dirty crawling into this thing.
You have some overalls?
No, I don't know how they work. I don't work outside. So that's where we're at. What do you think? Plausible? It's plausible. We proved.
Is that, do you have to have the waveform?
You have to have. We're at the point we have to have. We've proved all we can
So
prove.
if that
You're lucky,
gear thing
moved.
moved, will the waveform tell you that it's
It
moved?
will, and because we know how to do the math and we can figure out, what did we figure out? We figured out degrees per milliseconds per degree, milliseconds per degree. Since we know that, if we have a known good, we can tell not only that it moved, we can tell how much it moved.
And if it's moved, then what?
She buys a crankshaft.
Is the reluctor wheel like plastic? How?
No, it's metal. They got a picture of it on the service bulletin, and it's the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. It's metal. It's evidently must be pressed on like totally cheese dog because it moved, or it can move, so
There's
that's
no-
where we're at.
There's no bow.
Alright, get the phone. Chop, chop, chop. Okay, yeehaw, we got one. I went across town and I got one. I got us a 06, same year. It's 4-wheel peel. Oops, shoot. Get my cart here. Ah, dang it, come on. It's a 4-wheel peeler. What the heck am I doing here? Oh, I just got a little bit of time here. I told the lady I'd be right back in her car. I asked her if I could borrow it to get some waveforms. Gosh. Here we go, my casualties. So it's a 06, got 2.8 in it. The other customer I knew that had one of these, it was a 2-wheel drive, but it was the off-road edition, so it was a 5-banger. So here's this beauty. It's gonna be our donor. This has got no engine light. Starts and runs. She hasn't had an engine light in a long time, she told me. What we got for mileage? We got $1.16 on it. So we'll get hooked up to this thing and get our, hopefully, known good waveform. Oh man, this is tight over here. Miss that ball. Josh is over here working, so I got just a little bit of room, but I didn't want to do it outside. So I'm going to take and get this little guy hooked up. I think we got it. this up. Hang on over there, Josh. Over there running his fingers through the grinder. Okay, let me start this thing up. Okay, get over here where you guys can see. Now we're gonna go to scope, last scope. Okay, we got good signal. Move our trigger here, okay. Hopefully you guys can see this. This is kind of curiosity just getting the best of me. Okay. We're gonna take and go 10 milliseconds here. Move our trigger. Stop it. We'll record it. We're gonna stop it. We'll zoom out. Let me shut it off. Okay, real quick. I'm still recording. Real quick. Let's just see if we see anything just at first glance. Okay, let's look at 720. Boy, I'm not seeing anything real evident here right off the bat. So here's 720. 2 short marks, 2 long marks. Boy. Here. Front edge of that one. I know the time base is going to be different, so 8.72 milliseconds. I assume they're idling about the same. Let's, of course, we're gonna have to do the math on this, obviously, to find out for sure. Of course, we probably should plug the scan module into this thing, make sure it's idling at 0. What's that time basis? 9 milliseconds, yeah. We're going to find there's no difference between these two. I know that's what we're going to find. Let's go run the numbers. I'll be damned. I don't know what can be happening here. Gosh. Oh shoot, you know what? We never saved that waveform. We got to go back in here. Okay, let's start this up. Let's get our known good. Consider this our known good. I'm going to check it for codes real quick before it leaves. We don't want to get slid by that. We know this crank sensor won't throw a code. We're going from 0 to 12 volts. We're going to take and save this. Got our data saved. Crap. That really sucks. I was really hoping to see like a big difference here. Okay, no active vehicles. We're gonna go to check the data on this, make sure there's no make sure there's no codes. It's the same year and everything. As long as there's no codes, we gotta assume this is a known good. Pretty wild, huh? Jeez, what kind of case study we getting into here? We've got like probably 9 other cars out in the parking lot that need work for today. I thought this was gonna be a simple evap, deal, and it's kind of bouncing around here. Oops, Yeah, automatic, continue. We'll go to codes, display codes. So we got all powertrain codes. Crap, look at that. P0017. Son of a pup. Mill requested, no codes. History codes. We can't use this. Damn. Okay, we're right back to where we started. Okay, I'm back. I just went across town, dropped that car back off. But I don't think we're gonna find anything fruitful. That sucks. That thing had the same damn code in it. Crap. Well, let's just look at it. I mean, I just looked at it real quick. Let's take, okay, so this is our known, Colorado known good. So let's look at this. Let's just get a data point from it. Let's see here, we'll go 16x. This is idling. We're gonna use this 720 degree event right here. So let's go, let me use that other cursor that came under this. Makes it work a little easier. That's such a bummer. Okay. So we're gonna go here, and then we're gonna go here. Well, we're pretty close. Anyhow, we got what, 118. So we're gonna go 720 divided by 118, 6.10, let me get a pen. So 6.10 degrees per millisecond. Okay. And let's see, for grins and giggles, how many? That edge is 7.5. So we're going to do 7.5 times 6.1. That is going to give, oops, that gave me the wrong number. 7.5 times 6.1. They gave us 45.75 degrees between here and there. Of course, that you know, it's half that, but that doesn't matter. We're going to use the same figure. So 45.75, that is our known good. Okay, so now we'll close that. We're going to come back to our 0 degree cam idle. That one was 45 degrees. Let's go here, we'll go to 16. Let's find ourselves our mark again. Point to point. What do we got? We got 146. We'll call it 147. It's 146.91. So we'll go 720. 720 divided by 147 is 4.89. We'll just call it 4.9. Get a good measurement here. It's 9.7. So we're going to do 9.7 times 4.9. That is 47.53. So there's only 2 degrees, because our initial one, our suspect good, was almost 46 degrees. This one's 47. So give or take the error in my cursors, you know, decimal points, you know, there's no anomaly here, I guess is what I'm saying. This super sucks. Okay. I need to talk to myself out loud here for a little while. I was really hoping to see some definitive proof here, something different, but it appears that our waveform from this truck So there's that. You know what, I probably got the other one. Oh my gosh, I got too many things open here. I can just close these. Oops, we don't want to do that. Okay, close that. Okay, so let's get both of these open. We'll flip back and forth between them. No good. 16. Let's get the same event up here on the screen. So that is our known good, or one we suspect is good, but things still had the code in it. And then we have this is off our vehicle that's in the shop right now. Get the same event up. Flip back and forth. Not seeing any. Obviously different RPMs here. That's why our frequency here is a little different. But I'll be honest with you, I don't see any difference in these waveforms. Gosh darn it. That is a bummer. I need to walk away from this. And that is the best advice I can give you at this point. And I know this is probably not an option in some of your shops. If you're working for the man, working for your boss, I need to walk away from this. My head's starting to hurt. I really thought we were on to something. I'm obviously going to have to do some more research. I don't even know what to say at this point. I gotta do some thinking. I gotta do some digging. There's got to be more. We got to see what the computer sees. There is no way that both of these vehicles, if this, reductor wheel was to slip, that's impossible for them to slip exactly the same within, a degree of each other. There's no way. If it did, shame on me. But that's highly unlikely. I need to go fix something. So I'm gonna go out. I gotta do some repairs. We got alignment to do on that Chevy Josh is working on. I've got a bazillion things. So I'm gonna stop right now. We will pick back up on this because as Vanessa said, this lady's had this thing everywhere, so nobody can fix it. Well, there's gotta be an answer. We got the clues. We need to do some research. That's what it comes down to. We'll figure it out. All right, guys. It's been hours. It's actually, it's 9 o'clock at night. That's what you gotta do sometimes when you own the place. Today was crazy. So I'm just getting back to the Colorado video. Now that everybody kind of leaves you alone and doors are closed and everything's locked and missed my lunch, missed my dinner. But in an effort to find a known good waveform, get on AATN. There's a lot of waveforms on there. There's only one that's actually readable. Most of them are saved in such a format that you can't see, so they're just absolutely silly. It's like, this little blob with this little blob, but it means nothing. When you're trying to look at it to the level of, how many degrees out are we? So, with that being said, the one that is labeled on here, ITN, as a known good, it has no other attributes with it, no vehicle mileage, no reason as to why somebody put it there. But looking at that, doing calculations off of that versus the calculations that I have here versus the ones on our, our suspect good, the blue Colorado we had in here, the one with the most retarded camshaft is the one that's out here setting the codes. So we still don't know what the threshold is as far as what the PCM looks for, and it says, okay, that's too far retarded, that's too much. So here's what we've determined. I've actually did what anybody would do. I called Ivan and was talking with him about this, and we really discussed this, and we shared waveforms, and I sent him this picture from IATN, and we're kind of we come up with the same conclusion. Obviously, at this point, it is obvious that there is no major mechanical problem with the truck. The reluctor wheel on the crankshaft hasn't moved because there's multiple waveforms that show, everybody has the same one I have with variations, minor variations, I should say. So there's, nothing major like that. The camshaft actuator we know is not stuck and all that. The only thing that can change this waveform, the relationship from this sync notch to the rising or falling edge, whatever you want to look at, of the next cam signal, is chain slack. And the only way to determine chain slack 100% is to tear the engine apart. The time and chain labor time is 18 hours. So that's it. And even if you read, just for the heck of it, if you go on and look at the factory, what do I want to call it? It's too late. The factory flow chart. Geez, I have to think of the name of it. So you go on and look at the flow chart. Of course, step one is, recreate the problem, get the engine light come on. Okay, that's no problem. We do that. After that, the next step was to verify cam phaser, the little round thingy, the cam phaser operation, cam solenoid operation. They tell you to, check it for 12 volts, command it on with a scan tool, all the stuff we've already done. And then the next step is verify camshaft timing, or verify condition of the camshaft chain. Well, the only way to do that is pull the front cover off. The only way to pull the front cover off is pull the oil pan. The only way to pull the oil pan is pull the rack and pinion. You see where I'm going? And if you're going to pull it apart, you're going to put a chain on it. You're not going to pull it apart and be like, looks good. We know it has slack in it. I mean, you can hear it when you start it. You start it up, the truck rattles, then it quiets right down as the chain tensioner gets oil pressure. Is it too much? I don't know, probably. So that's where we're at. I don't know if there's going to be a part 2 to this. I hate leaving you guys hanging, but there was a lot of good information in this. I hope the customer fixes it, but 18 hours, that's over $1,000 in just labor. And all of that to fix a silly check engine light to get a sticker. And we still have, an evap solenoid that's no good. That's over $100. Time and chain. If you're going to tear it apart, you're going to do the chain, the tensioner, and the guides, naturally. I've got hundreds of dollars in parts. And what is this, a $2,000 repair? I don't know. So that's where it's at. I would love to just, open up my wallet, shell out all the money, and look at it and fix it, but I can't. I run a business, and this is the dilemma. But you can see how this kind of drags out. And, here's where we're at. We got to look at our data and figure out the clues. It's got to be a stretched timing chain to get the correlation, because you got to look at it like the PCM's looking at it. PCM's seeing a mismatch relationship between the cam and the crank signal. However, we don't know to what degree, because that information is not published. If I do this, if we get the job and I put a new chain on it, you're darn right I'm going to catch a brand new waveform. We're going to look, we're going to see how many degrees change we have, and I'm going to post that wherever I can, because nobody has posted this information. And this is a massive problem with these vehicles. You go on Google and you type in, Chevy Colorado P0017, you're going to come up with, page after page after page of, camshaft actuators, and then, every Tom, Dick, and Harry, making wild stab guesses at it, but nobody's fixing it. So I don't know. You see everything from screwed up, inaccurately timed engines from people doing head jobs, and then you come up with, I don't want to call them armchair experts, but everybody just guessing, nobody's fixing them. So here we are, we've got some data. The higher mileage of the two, the white truck has about 30,000 more miles on it than the blue truck, and we could see that the cam was retarded 2 more degrees on this white truck than it was on the blue truck. So, you know, there's some more evidence. The blue truck had a history code stored in it. So is it on that threshold where occasionally it throws the code, then it doesn't, then it does, and it doesn't? I don't know. This truck throws a hard code, and it's, you know, 2 degrees more off than the blue truck was. So I wish I knew what the threshold was, but why these manufacturers don't, you know, put out this information is beyond me. I don't know. I'm tired, I'm hungry, I'm going home. I hope there's a part 2. Don't get mad if there's not. Just try to learn along with me. So, thanks for watching.